We are going to be taking a look at our first parents this morning. So we're going to do two things this morning. We are going to look at why humans are special. Why are you special? Hey. You know, I remember sitting in my seventh grade biology class, and my teacher telling us that he showed me this chart of the evolutionary chain, and how we started in kind of they didn't really know back in the 80s, and they still don't know right now, but somehow we were sparked out of a primordial soup, or that we came out of the hot vents under the ocean, where the first life started, and then somehow a single-celled organism kind of decided to replicate, and it replicated, and it had the ability to have design inside of itself, and so it went from single to complex somehow. And then we don't really know, it's really hazy, and we went from this multicellular thing to that loved being in the warm ocean, and somehow it had flippers, and it went from having flippers a couple million years later, we don't really know what happened, maybe a billion years later, and then all of a sudden this thing that was really happy in the ocean hopped up on land. We don't really know why or how it hopped up on land or why it even wanted to come on land, but through billions and billions of replicating mistakes and organic problems inside of itself, it kept all the good things and got up on land, and its flippers turned to feet or whatever, and it started walking, and luckily by the time it got on land, there was things growing on land. It's like, I guess I better eat something, and so it starts eating. And luckily this whole chain of events happened so that this thing that was happy in the ocean is now happy on land because it has stuff to eat. And so it grows from this little thing into a bigger thing, and then it becomes more complex somehow, and it ends up becoming an ape thing millions of years later. And somehow the ape thing ended up getting a conscience and developing a justice system and needing forgiveness. And I mean, it's so and so I'm sitting there in seventh grade, I'm going, I mean, intelligent people believe this stuff? I mean, this sounds like something I'd write for a report and get an F. You know, and that's not to mock any, I mean, there's people much more intelligent than I that believe things, but I mean, that's literally, if you look in a natural biology book, if you look at the evidence for evolution, if you just look at that chapter is the smallest, least documented in all of biology. So, and it's so ridiculous because my son, who is in seventh grade, he brings home this book, and theoretically, our whole foundation of our complex societies and living organisms and everything that we see is based on this sliver of a chapter that doesn't even have real pictures in it. It just has drawings of like the thing that goes from like out of the water like, and all of a sudden it's a guy with a briefcase. You know, and you kind of go, if that's true, good. If that's true, that's cool. But don't just show me an illustration. Show it to me in real life. Well, when we look at real life, all we see is giraffes are giraffes, apes are apes, humans are humans, caterpillar's a caterpillar, roach is a roach. Everything has its own little phyla, it has its own little system. So the way you get around that is you say, oh, it's the end of the tree. It's like Darwin's tree where we grew up from this primordial soup, and then we're at the end. We don't really know how everything connects back to the trunk, but because we're at the end, we really don't see the connectors. And I'm like, give me a break. Give me a stinking break. If everything is based off of an evolutionary, it took billions of years, we should literally be tripping over transitional things. Because billions and trillions of things have had to be not right. And we're finally here. The right ones are finally here. So we should just be able to walk outside and go, oh, there's a transitional thing. Oh, there's a transitional thing. Oh, there's the thing that didn't quite make it. We don't see anything. We see nothing. They have millions of fossils sitting in the history museums. And nothing they can point to and take a picture of and go, that's perfect, there it is right there. Don't give me this half bird thing or whatever. I mean, it's so ridiculous that I just go, people are totally deceived. Genius people are totally deceived because it makes no sense. We're not highly evolved apes. There's something different about humanity. Verse 24, and God, this plural God form, And God said, let the earth bring forth living creatures according to their kinds, livestock, creeping thing, beasts of the earth according to their kinds. And it was so. You know what that is right there? God just, boom, he fills the earth. He doesn't need evolution. He doesn't need mutation. He doesn't need organic mistakes in DNA to bring forth his things. Because if God needs some dysfunctional form to bring forth things, that's a dysfunctional God. If he needs death and dysfunction to bring forth complex organisms, then that God is really lame. Because if you have to rely on things dying and becoming better, then why don't you just build it the right way the first time? Right? I just don't understand why Christians have to go there. They go, oh, well, science says this. Like, whoa. In 100 years, people look back on our time and go, well, that was really ridiculous. They believe that. You know what I'm saying? So here's the thing. God has built us special.